What's up guys, today I'll be going over some tips and strats for Operation Headhunter in Call of Duty Modern Warfare's co-op mode. There are three important factors that will determine how well you perform individually, how much you contribute to the team, and whether you guys will complete the mission. These factors are your personal loadout, your role, and the strategy. Starting off with the loadout, my recommended weapon of choice is the AK-47. Those of you who didn't get the chance to unlock it yet, don't worry. Since we're facing against the Al-Qatalas and the Russians, it is guaranteed you will find them on the battlefield. And once you do, pick them up since you can easily replenish ammo. And to those with the AK unlocked, you're free to put on any attachments you love. I personally recommend putting a sight on it to make it easier for headshots. I'm rocking Overkill for perk 1, allowing me to carry the 50 caliber sniper, or the AX-50 if you will. It shoots 50 BMG rounds, which we were taught from Modern Warfare 2 and 3 that these are extremely effective on juggernauts. Once again, those of you who didn't unlock this yet, or you don't enjoy sniping all that much, don't worry, I'll talk about it in a second. Also note that some of the perks in co-op mode are a little different in its abilities than in multiplayer. Double time is still the same, and we won't really need that. EOD gives you more protection against explosions, which is only useful against tanks and RPGs in this mission, so you won't really need it if you play carefully. Overkill we have equipped for the sniper, Scavenger for resupplying ammo from the dead AIs. We won't need it since we'll be using the AK for this mission. But the perk itself doesn't work consistently for some reason, so it's not promised you'll always pick up ammo. Cold-blooded is only to delay tanks and helos from targeting you, which I don't find as useful. Quick Fix is extremely useful since you'll be fighting waves and waves of enemies and you're going to want to start healing as fast as you can. So killing an enemy, which shouldn't be too difficult, can speed up your healing process. Now getting back to those who don't prefer to snipe or didn't unlock the AX-50, simply rock the Quick Fix or Scavenger for perk 1, and this will get rid of your sniper, and I would definitely pick up the 357 Magnum as it one-shots most enemies and two-shots the armored enemies, not the jugs, towards late game. To those who unlock the Deagle, definitely pick the 50 GS as it is a 50 caliber hand cannon that is also super effective against jugs. For lethal, you can choose whatever you prefer. I chose the throwing knife as it instantly kills an enemy and could save me when I need to reload. Stem shot for tactical to help me get out of sticky situations with a quick heal. Moving on to perk 2, I'm using kill chain since kills increase roll ability charge. Now if I'm getting a ton of kills left and right, my roll ability will be charged up and ready in no time. Especially with the help of tune-up for perk 3, roll ability charge time is reduced by 33%. You're synergizing your roll ability to its max potential with kill chain and tune-up. Role select, I do recommend you squad up with friends as it's much easier to decide ahead of time who is going to select what role. Heavy will provide armor for his team, which is very useful since it provides extra protection. And it's not like the crates where your teammates have to manually pick them up. The players automatically have them once the ability is triggered, and Heavy gets more launcher ammo which is useful against tanks and choppers. This is definitely a role you want in your squad. Recon is not so useful in Headhunter since you really want an extra shooter instead of having someone sitting in a corner marking people with his drone. Having a low recoil passive is not really worth wasting the entire rollover. Demolition shoot thermites out of his launcher, which can be useful if it's used properly, with a passive of picking up nades from enemies. This is still a pretty weak role for what it has to offer compared to the other roles. The medic is probably the most important role since you can revive all teammates at once no matter where they are on the map. This can really clutch you out of situations when you have multiple teammates down. The passive is also extremely useful by allowing you to pick up teammates faster, so you don't have to be stuck in the revive animation for so long getting melted by enemies. Although medic is a good role, I don't recommend having more than 2 medics on the team, because if everyone is playing a medic, you're just kind of preying on each other's downfall at that point. If nobody goes down, you won't really get to use your abilities, making the role useless, because no one is dishing out a lot of damage. This is why Assault is another very important role to have on your team. Providing stopping power rounds for you and your teammates, you can easily thin out groups of enemies and turn the battle around. When you're surrounded and being pinched hard, stopping power rounds can allow your team to clear a path and give you breathing space. It also makes it easier to take out choppers and jugs. Passive ability of fast reload is wonderful and can save you many times. Engineer, launching the EMP drone can take out the choppers but not the tanks, only disabling them for a few seconds. For those of you wondering, yes, you can destroy the helicopter that delivers the jug, so you can kill him in the air, but your drone has to recharge and more jugs would have been deployed at that point. Passive of extra damage to armor targets and vehicles is like stopping power that only works on jugs and vehicles for one player. The mission itself isn't too difficult compared to the others. It starts off pretty easy and slow in the beginning. You and your squad have to simply take out the lieutenants and retrieve data from each of them. Remember to go for headshots. It's the most efficient way to take down your enemies and can save you a ton of ammo in the long run. Later on, when enemies start swarming you, hitting headshots when you're under heavy fire is crucial in saving yourself and your teammates. For those of you guys playing on console, hitting headshots might be a little bit more difficult, but this is where stopping power comes into play. After you retrieve the data, you and your squad must head over to the stadium to hack and disable 5 scramblers. Now the first 2 of the 5 shouldn't be too bad as long as everyone is playing smart, taking cover and killing enemies. However, when it gets to the 3rd scrambler, this is where you have to strategize with your teammates. Your positioning is very important. Most players that you play with in random matchmaking would hug the stadium wall like shown here. Sure, you can use the pillars as cover, but you're also close to the back wall, the splash damage of explosions will easily get you killed. Not to mention that enemies can easily sandwich you by closing in from all directions. So you definitely want to split off from your team, but don't get too separated. What I like to do is to push up a little and hold off a specific direction that the enemies are pushing from. Here's a position I really like to play at. Push a little bit ahead of the bridge and take cover behind this bluish building. Ask your teammate to do the same and cover a different angle. Make sure you have 2 teammates, preferably the medics, on the objective to continue the hacking progress. From here, you can take out the enemies before they're able to shoot their RPGs towards the objective. You can hold off pushes on your own from 2 different directions and prevent your team from getting sandwiched. Clearing the bridge is important to keep your team safe, but make sure you're constantly watching your back too, since you can easily get flanked and go down. And if things do get sloppy and you end up dying, you'll respawn after a certain amount of time. Once you're being redeployed, I highly recommend you to land on the outskirts. Don't go directly back into battle because you don't want to go back unprepared. Personally, I like going to this little neighborhood since it's not too far from the stadium and I can find ammo and armor crates for my team. If you're lucky, you can find airstrikes, jug suits, and cruise missiles which can be really useful. When you're ready to leave with everything you need, hop on the ATV and return to battle. When fighting the jugs, you can play it safe and go on the outskirts and fight them from there. Or you can do what we did, which is to take the chance of fighting them on the objective. It's not too bad, as long as you're dancing around the pillars for cover and keep shooting at them. Repeat this process until they die. Once you take out the jugs, you already got the hard part over with. And finally the chopper. You can easily shoot it down, especially if you have stopping power. But conveniently for us, we found RPGs laying everywhere. Once the chopper is destroyed, make your way to the extraction. Be aware that only 2 players fit on each side. You certainly don't want to die over this, like that guy. Anyways, if you found this video useful, share it with your friends, tell them about the loadouts and the strats. Thanks for watching guys, please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed.